Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please like the videos, comment below, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel if you love college football, because this is where you'll find the very best in discussion, debate, and analysis of the game we love. We've been talking about this series for the past few weeks. Now we launch it. We are reviewing national championships in college football year by year. Of course, the system is broken. The product on the field is amazing. We love college football, but the system is broken and has been broken forever, just in different ways. Prior to 1936, basically anyone who had a good season could claim a national championship. In 1936, the poll era began with the Associated Press and United Press International determining after the bowl games who was the national champion. Then we had all sorts of other services chiming in with their national championships, which are some of the reasons why schools are claiming other national championships outside of the AP and the UPI from 1936 to 1997. Now, UPI transformed to and turned over their polling service to USA Today at a point in the late 80s, and later the Coaches Poll emerged under the umbrella of ESPN. All right, in 1998, the BCS formula was created and instituted, which determined the national championship game between numbers 1 and 2, which was a positive direction, certainly, in at least bringing two of the best teams in college football onto the same field to play a national championship game. The way that was determined, of course, was based on computer formula of determining strength of schedule, strength of team, and also we still had the poll systems determining 2/3 of that total calculation. That system lasted from 1998 through 2013. Then in 2014, here came the modern-day college football playoff, an improvement in that it allowed opportunity for two other teams to earn a national championship in the playoff. But of course, it became a completely subjective process with a 13-member committee selecting who would play in the playoff. And the criteria first given has been adjusted and tweaked and changed, and we don't know exactly what they are using to determine the best teams versus the most deserving teams, and we have that discussion here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, almost on a daily basis. But let's review the champions and either back up the championship, give validity to the claimed national championship, or discredit the championship and then determine why other teams either could claim a national championship or at least could have been afforded in this era of a playoff, and in the BCS era could have been afforded a spot in the championship game or in the playoff. We're going to start with 2018 and work our way back through history. So in 2018, we have what I believe to be one of the more valid national champions in history. The Clemson Tigers finished 15-0. Did they play a difficult schedule? No. Did they play in a top conference? No. They still earned the national championship. They went undefeated. Therefore, they became the only undefeated team in history to not only go undefeated, but to win two playoff games to win the national championship. So they had to beat two of the best teams in the country, including the team most people believe to be the #1 team in the country in the national championship game, in resounding fashion by 28 points to win the national championship. So Clemson at 15-0 is the national champion for 2018. And based on UCF's loss in the Fiesta Bowl to LSU, their first loss in 2 seasons, that certainly knocks them out of the running for a claimed national championship, unlike 2017. So UCF did not complete the run to make a claim for a national championship. Clemson sitting on top of the hill, on top of the mountain, undefeated, 15-0, winning 2 playoff games against Notre Dame and Alabama as the national champion. They did have 2 close calls. Now, I'm not discrediting their national championship based on 2 close calls. I'm just giving some context to the national championship run and letting you know how close they came to possibly getting knocked off during the season and that derailing their national championship run. In week 2, they went to Kyle Field at Texas A&M and slipped by the Aggies 28-26. Texas A&M came back in the second half, made it a great ball game, and a failed 2-point conversion may have been the difference between Texas A&M winning and pulling off the big upset and Clemson surviving and maintaining an undefeated season, winning 28-26. Of course, that game, that 2-point conversion would not have won the game for Texas A&M, but would have moved the game most likely into overtime, with both teams having an equal shot of winning. So Clemson survives Texas A&M 28-26 on the road in week 2. In week 5, it was for a second consecutive season the Syracuse Orange that provided adversity for Clemson. And the Tigers finally prevailed 27-23. They were down 23-13 in the fourth quarter. They put together 2 touchdown drives. One was aided by a turnover. They did all this without their starting quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who was knocked out of the game late in the second quarter. They trailed at halftime, and again, they got down in the fourth quarter 23-13, put together 2 touchdown drives, one of which was extended by an excellent 4th and 6 play where Chase Bryce, their third-string quarterback to open the season before Kelly Bryant left the team, Chase Bryce, their backup quarterback, completed a 4th and 6 play to T. Higgins to keep the drive alive. Clemson wins over Syracuse 27-23 in that game. All right, Clemson made it through a very easy ACC schedule. The ACC was down here in 2018. I will prove that in later videos, not in this series, but when we do our Power 5 conference rankings. All right, Clemson again wins the national championship at 15-0. It is completely valid without any discredit. It is completely justified. Let's keep in mind, though, that there were 2 teams who could have played for a national championship, had every right to claim that they earned a spot among the top 4 teams in the country. One would be Central Florida, who, of course, the previous season in 2017 went undefeated and backed up that undefeated season by winning over Auburn in the Peach Bowl. That has nothing to do with 2018, but just set the stage for the Knights' run in 2018, in which UCF went undefeated, won a conference American championship, then was pitted against LSU in the bowl game. So, of course, the bowl game was played after the college football playoff selection. So, again, there were folks out there, including, of course, UCF, who made the claim that we are undefeated. Again, we should receive a playoff spot and be able to play for a national championship. That was not the case, of course. And then their claims were somewhat discredited by losing this year to LSU in the Fiesta Bowl 40-32. So UCF cannot claim a national championship this year, but they could have been selected and placed in the college football playoff. So they could have had the opportunity to play for a national championship. I'm not making the claim that they had any shot to win the playoff. I'm not making a prognostication on what might have happened, but I'm just saying that based on an undefeated season in conference championship, that Central Florida could have been selected for the playoff. Also, Ohio State could have been selected to play in the playoff. They had the same resume on surface as Oklahoma. Both teams went 12-1. Both won major conferences. Oklahoma avenged its loss to Texas, and their loss to Texas was by 3 points to one of the top 15 teams in the country at the time, and therefore Oklahoma's loss did not look as bad as Ohio State's loss to Purdue, which finished 6-6. So the Buckeyes got blown out, and that's what many people believe to be the tiebreaker between Oklahoma and Ohio State. The Buckeyes, in fact, though, won the Big Ten championship by 3 touchdowns. They won more impressive games against better teams, but they had the bad loss. But again, if it's just placed on qualifications of conference championship and record, Oklahoma 12-1, Big 12 champion. Ohio State not afforded a playoff spot and a chance to win a national championship at 12-1 and winning the Big Ten. So my thoughts on the 2018, just to review: Clemson won the national championship. They earned the national championship. There are no other teams that could claim a national championship in 2018, but there are two teams that could claim that they should have been in the college football playoff, and that, of course, would be Ohio State as the Big Ten champion at 12-1 at the time, and they won the Rose Bowl to finish 13-1. UCF, undefeated at the time of the selection, could claim that they should have been in the college football playoff. Of course, their claim somewhat discredited, unlike 2017, by losing the Fiesta Bowl to LSU. That's installment number 1 of our series here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, reviewing all the national champions throughout college football history. We will enjoy this. Hope you enjoy it. We will crank them out as long as you guys are watching and engaged and involved. Leave your comments below right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Share the video with your family and friends and with your social media acquaintances. And, of course, share all the videos and tell people that we are here to discuss, debate, and analyze college football like nobody else here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.